Fixing your numb hands on the bike could be as simple as completing one or two of the 3 stretches I'm going to show you in today's video. Of course, being properly fitted to your bike is really important when it comes to any pain or numbness you're feeling while on the bike. But the cause could also be down to tight or weak wrists and forearms, tight bicep, shoulder, or muscles in the chest. And the risk of it being caused by tight muscles is only more likely if you spend a lot of time sat at the desk during the week as well. These 3 stretches will fix all those issues for you, so let's get into stretch number 1. I'm Jonny, a coach and personal trainer who in the last few years has found a passion for training on 2 wheels. Join me as I document my journey to become a stronger cyclist, whilst hopefully sharing some of my coaching knowledge to help you too. See you on the road. And just quickly before we do actually get on to exercise number 1, I just wanted to explain why stretching and strengthening might potentially help. And that's because the nerves that might potentially be blocked or compressed that are making your hands go numb actually come from the spine, go through the shoulder, the chest, the bicep and the forearm, as you can see by my very expertly drawn person here on the whiteboard. So if we do potentially have a tight chest, shoulder, bicep or forearm, that might be compressing those nerves, and we then start to feel the result of that when our hands go numb on the bike. But let's actually get into how we can fix this now with exercise number 1. So the first stretch is the chest wall stretch. As it says in the name, it's going to help stretch out the chest, but also the shoulder, bicep and forearm and wrist a little bit as well. I'm going to use a pole for this one in my gym, but you can use any wall. So all you want to do is place your fingers facing behind you. And then all you're going to do is place your hand on the wall or on a pole or a bar, whatever it is you've got, and twist away from your arm to stretch out that chest, shoulder, bicep and forearm. You can also change the height of your arm against the wall too, just to wherever feels best for you. So you can go a little bit higher, you'll feel it higher up in the chest, or you can go a little bit lower, you'll potentially feel it a little bit lower down in the chest. As well as twisting your body away from the wall and your hand, you can also twist your head and neck away, and you should feel a nice stretch through the neck and down into the shoulder that way as well. If that feels a little intense for you and you can really feel it kind of tingling down the forearm or the bicep and you're not really feeling it in the shoulder and chest, you can also bend the elbow instead of having it straight as we were doing, and this just means you're focused a little bit more on the shoulder and chest. Obviously for this one you want to make sure you do both arms, even if you only get numbness in one side. Holding the stretch for around about 30 seconds to a minute is a good place to start, and doing it before every time you get out on the bike should hopefully help out a little bit. But if you can also do it a little bit more regularly, for example every morning, that will mean that the benefits you're getting from the stretching are going to last a little bit longer as opposed to just doing it before every bike ride. So that chest wall stretch is really going to have helped things further up the chain at our neck, shoulder, bicep and chest as well. Next we're going to move down the chain a little bit and focus more on the wrists and the forearms. So next we've got the wrist flexor and extensor stretches. These are going to specifically help for any of those tight areas around the wrist or around the hand that are potentially causing you some pain or numbness on the bike. All you're going to do for this one is place your hands down on the floor. Keeping your elbows straight and your fingers pointing out in front of you, all you're going to do is push your elbows and shoulders over your fingers, so you're essentially flexing at the wrists. With your fingers facing forwards, all this does is just stretches out those wrist flexor muscles in the forearm. You should hopefully be able to feel it through the forearm and also potentially through the bicep as well. It's really important to keep the elbows straight and also keep the whole hand, the whole palm of the hand and the fingers flat on the floor as well. What we can also do is start to face the fingers in different positions as well to feel what works best for you. So the elbows always stay straight, but we can have the fingers pointing outwards, and again we're just going to be rocking side to side here, pushing the elbows and shoulders out over the fingers, and you should be able to feel this variation in the wrists and forearms too, but potentially in a little bit of a different place. You can also face the fingers towards you as well to get a little bit more of an intense stretch in those wrist flexors in the forearms. And again, all you're going to do is face the fingers towards you for this one, keeping your elbows locked and pushing the weight over the fingers nice and gently. We can also work on the wrist extensors as well, and for this all you're going to do is place the tops of your hands on the floor this time. This one's a little bit more painful, so you might need a soft surface such as a carpet, but it's exactly the same process, keeping the elbows as straight as you can and as is comfortable, and all you're doing is facing the fingers towards each other this time and then rocking side to side. Be careful with this one as it can be a little painful, especially if your wrists aren't too flexible. With all these variations, you can kind of rock side to side or rock over the fingers wherever the fingers are pointing, as opposed to just holding it in one place. And rocking backwards and forwards or holding this for, again, about 30 seconds to a minute before you head out on the bike is going to be a great place to start. And if you want some longer lasting benefits, completing this more regularly, for example every morning or every evening, is really going to help loosen out those forearms. As well as relaxing and lengthening those forearm muscles as we've just done, it's also important to strengthen them too. So that's exactly what we're going to do next. So the final stretch is not actually a stretch, it's more of a strengthening exercise. But we're essentially doing the same as what we've just done with the wrist stretching exercises, and we're actually going to use it to help strengthen up our forearms so that we're less likely to get tight forearms in the first place. Often muscle groups are tight, not because they're actually tight, but because they're weak. So if we can strengthen them as well as stretch them, then we'll have longer lasting benefits. So all we're going to do for this one is place our hands flat on the floor again, either on a soft surface or a hard surface, whatever you feel works best for you. And all you're going to do is face your fingers out in front of you as we've just done, facing forwards. Push up onto your first knuckles, just raising the palms of your hands off the floor as high as you can. Holding it at the top for a couple of seconds before dropping down in a nice controlled manner. We're not dropping down without putting in any effort here. By doing this for 2 to 3 sets, 8 reps to 12 reps each time, you should definitely feel the blood rushing into your forearms, and your forearms might actually feel a little bit tighter after doing this, but that's just because they're full of blood. If you can do this 2 to 3 times per week over a couple of weeks, you'll find your wrists and hands tend to become a little stronger, and you'll be at less risk of that hand numbness and wrist pain in general as well. So that's to strengthen the wrist flexors. We can also strengthen the wrist extensors as well. However, this is a little bit more painful and you do have to be a little bit more careful with this one. So we're going to put the backs of our hands on the floor this time, same as we did before, and all you're going to do is, having your fingers facing each other, you're just going to push up onto the first knuckle again, raising your wrists up off the floor, holding it there for a second or two, and then slowly dropping down. Same principle as the other exercise, 8 to 12 repetitions, 2 to 3 sets. As your wrists get stronger with this, what you can do over a couple of weeks is slowly start to move your knees a little bit further away from your hands where they meet the floor. The further your knees are away from your hands and the straighter your body is, the tougher these are going to be. If you'd like to see some more stretches and exercises that could help you feel more comfortable while on the bike, do check out this video here. But thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ride strong, and I'll catch you in the next one.